Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Male Perspective. I am your host, Lana Reid, and today I have with me Mr. W.T. Hamilton. He is an author of so many titles, just a long list of titles, and he helps entrepreneurs find their mojo and success in business. So I want to take this moment to say thank you for making time to hang out with me. Time is so precious. We don't get it back, so I appreciate you giving me this moment. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lana. I'm really excited to be here and join this conversation.
Alrighty. So where am I speaking to you from?
I'm in London, Ontario. So it's about 2 hours from Detroit.
Okay. So how are you guys handling the COVID-19 mess up there in Canada?
So it's similar to the U.S. We're all locked down and just doing everything from phone, video calls, that type of thing.
Okay.
Keeping everybody busy in the house.
Oh yeah, it gives you new meaning of family time, huh?
Exactly.
Okay. So as
24/7.
Yeah, I know, right? So I mentioned in the opening that you are the author of quite a few books out there, and you have this unique concept called the one chapter book. So could you explain, like, what is that about, or how you came to do that?
Yeah, so the one chapter book came from me reading a lot of business and marketing books and having to go through numerous chapters to find that one thing that I was trying to solve. So I decided, why not just write books that only solve one business problem at a time? So each book deals with a different problem or issue that you would run into and how to solve it using a mindset as well as other skills and habits to build success.
That's a great concept because, in today's world, we want it fast. We want it now. Even like on social media, when we're scrolling through articles or whatever, we want to get to the meat and potatoes. So, that's a kind of a unique concept. We don't want to sift through all of that. So that's cool. That's a good one. How did you get into this field of business and entrepreneurship? What led you that way?
So I was a production manager at a company, and back in 2009, it went bankrupt. Mm-hmm. And a consulting company hired me to build that same company back up. And they threw me into sales. So no more production. I had to learn how to actually sell the product that I was building. And with those skills and being around the consultants, there was a lot of things they were doing that I didn't like. And it just didn't sit good with me, with my heart, with how we're making money.
Oh, okay.
So then I found an opportunity to work with another company. I ended up because they're based in the US and I'm in Canada. So that gave me a perfect opportunity to start consulting. And so then I just started expanding on that and working with entrepreneurs and other people to help them solve business problems.
Oh, okay. What do you find the most common problem entrepreneurs, business owners are having?
Right now, I think it's being authentic and just showing up as their real self. I think that's a struggle a lot of companies are going through right now, and a lot of individuals in companies. How do I marry my heart-centered stuff with my business stuff?
Oh, okay.
And it's very challenging.
Yes, because at the end of the day, a lot of us get wrapped up into this. We need this to make some money. We need this to, pay the light bill or the mortgage or whatever. And sometimes it's tricky to find balance with doing what your heart desires and still paying the bills.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I was reading your blog, and you have this thing called 7 Essential Success Hacks. Could you explain those to us?
Yeah. So there are different mindset hacks and how to actually use them. So a lot of times people know different hacks, just like, you're supposed to go to the gym and you're supposed to work on different parts of your body. They know they're supposed to, but they don't actually do it. So it's like, here's what you're supposed to do and here's how to use it to improve your life. So some of the hacks are the simple ones like journaling and why that's important and how to make that a part of your habit. There's a lot of people, they try things for a few days. They don't see instant results. So then they throw it away and move on to something else. So it's part of it is really learning how to make that a habit that you can do continuously.
Okay. Yeah, I think Stephen Covey says it takes 21, 28 days for you to do something over and over again before it becomes a habit.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And part of it is in your brain, there's like these synapses, and they make new connections after you've done something repetitively. But you have to have those many days of repetitiveness before it becomes something that you just naturally do. Like right now, we naturally breathe. We don't ever have to think about that.
Yeah. So after this long period of time over and over and over at home with the family, you should be able to handle this with a breeze, right? This should be just an easy thing.
Exactly. And that's what I tell people is like, it's not easy for anybody. It might be easier in some ways, but nobody has it easy. It doesn't matter who you are, how much money you have.
Yes, indeed.
When somebody pulls the rug from underneath you, everybody has to fall.
Yes, we were so unprepared for this. So, now that we mentioned what the whole world is struggling with right now, a lot of businesses kind of find themselves just grappling with this, kind of paralyzed, just kind of functioning in the now. But the reality is there's light at the end of the tunnel. We will come out of this as a world, as a society. And what do you think businesses need to do to prepare for that? Okay, now we're open. Now we need to kind of transition back to business, because it's not going to be back to business as usual. So what are some steps maybe businesses can take to start to plan for that day?
So that's one of the things that I'm working with one of the companies right now, and it's really forward thinking. So you got to start to look at what are the things you have to have in place, your suppliers, how you're going to set up the way that your customers and you interact, because you might not go back to interacting face to face as much as you're going to interact with video calls, that type of thing. How do you get your staff comfortable with doing video calls? So it's a lot of really forward thinking right now that, yeah, it's good to be present. We also got to plan for the next steps. Yeah. And some of those next steps are not going to be so simple depending on what your business is. How are you going to fund it? How are you going to drive revenues? Are you still selling the same way? Like your selling practices are going to be different. And the way that you support and service your customers is going to be different. So
now, on the consumer end, I was on social media the other day and I read like a little meme, and it said something to the effect of, when this is all over, I'm going to wait for the rest of you guys to go out there and test it for a while before I step back out there. And I feel like a lot of consumers will feel this way. Like, okay, yeah, we know you said it's open for business, but I'm a little leery. How does the business owner start to make the consumer feel comfortable? Like, yeah, because some of them do have big brick and mortar businesses. So is there anything that a business owner can do to kind of make the consumer comfortable? It's okay to come back into my store. It's okay to purchase my items and things like that.
Yeah. So the company that I work with, they do have a retail front end on the business. And so we have everybody wearing masks, wearing gloves. They're sterilizing everything. We're doing where you call ahead and we bring the product to your car.
Okay.
We sterilize it before we bring it out so that the customer doesn't actually have to come inside. When they get there, we have a cell phone they can call. We can do a video chat with them to make sure whatever it is that they need, we can take care of. So we do a lot of things like that so you can be hands off, but you're still present and it still feels like you're having a real interaction.
Okay. Now, up in Canada, from the news that I'm getting here in the United States, you guys are handling things a little differently than we are in the United States. So it might be easier for the consumer to support the business owner because if I read correctly, you guys are getting a monthly stimulus packed. Yeah. So that will help pour money into the business owners that need that money to survive, if I'm understanding correctly, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a help. I don't know if you've read, but we're not getting that same package here. We're a little grumpy about it.
Most of the people I deal with are on the U.S. side, so I know exactly.
Yeah, we're a little grumpy about you guys right now. You guys are a little too happy-go-lucky for us, but
we drink a lot of beer up here. It helps.
But I mean, like this is a phenomenon that I don't think anybody really, really thought could be. I was just thinking, just for me, coming out of this, just a normal trip to Subway is going to be an issue for me, because I'm going to be looking at everybody like, do you have germs? Do you have, I mean, I don't know. It's just, it's really going to be, it's going to take a while for a lot of us to just circulate in society like we used to. Restaurants, hotels. I'm just thinking the larger impact that this is going to have.
Yeah, one of the things that and I on my Instagram I put a video, but one of the things that I talk about trying to get the message out is that we don't get to choose when we die, how we die, why we die. So we can't really worry so much, because I know there's people that like, I know somebody personally that was so worried and they ended up having a stroke. So it's not the virus that's putting them in harm's way. It's the stress, right? Yes. So you don't get to choose. You can end up taking your last breath, taking a drive. Okay. Whatever can happen. But also, most people are going to survive, and we're going to get back to normal, but it's going to be a new normal. So it just might mean that we're always going to carry a mask and some gloves when we go places.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So you have kids at home with you now?
I have 4 kids.
Oh, bless your heart. Oh my goodness gracious.
They're not really kids though. They're like, the youngest is 10, the oldest is 23.
Oh.
So they're more teenagers.
Oh, so. And you still have your sanity. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
How are they handling? Are they doing schooling at home?
Yeah, so they just really started this week with organized schooling. They were trying to get us do it ourselves, but I never went to teachers college. I don't know how to teach kids. so this week the teachers are actually sending out assignments, and they do video calls with the kids, I think, Monday and Friday, to make sure they're doing okay. Okay. Yeah, and then we got a big enough house that we can spread out. So right now I'm stuck in my bedroom. That's my office in the daytime, because my wife is using the office because she's working from home. Okay. And the kids are using the main floor for their homework and schooling. So
everybody has space.
Yeah, we have to all adapt, right?
Yeah, that's wonderful. It makes you think about, centuries ago, where that was the routine. Like the family was there, hour upon hour, and now we're so spoiled, and we're used to, you over there in your space, and you leave the house and I don't see you until dinner time or whatever. But now it's like, oh, I have a family. Oh, I'm not sure if I really like you as much as I thought.
For a while, I was just the Uber driver.
Oh,
right? Okay. I was just driving everybody around to the places they need to go. That was about the most time I would hang out with my kids.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. So the kids, they're not antsy yet. They're not like biting at the bit to like get back to normal.
They a little bit, but we keep them busy. So like even before I came on today with this podcast, we had like a Michael Jackson break, and we were all dancing to Michael Jackson songs for like 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So we do stupid little things to
that's cool.
Have fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the kids' age range is from 10 to 23, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you being Mr. Businessman and helping people get their mojo, are the kids exposed to entrepreneurship?
Yeah. So my wife, she does real estate investing, and then I help people with mindset and learning how to be leaders in business. So we expose them to stuff all the time, and we're always talking to them about different ways to invest money and the importance of having more than one income stream, and then really following your ideas and not being afraid to try things and fail, or try things that takes longer. So yeah, we're constantly feeding them with the entrepreneur spirit.
That's cool. I love that. I mean, I think that is one of the biggest things that entrepreneurs struggle with. I know so many people that, say, I'll start my business when, or, I don't have all the pieces together, or I'll wait, or, I'm not really sure if, I have what it takes. And there's a fear And, understandably so, because, if you flop as an entrepreneur, there's so much you lose: time, finances, relationships, or whatever. But sometimes the reward is so much sweeter than clocking in 9 to 5 somewhere.
Yeah, and the more that you fail, is the more that it shows you where you got to focus. So you already know what you're good at, but you don't always know what you need to focus on to improve until you try something and it fails. And then you can say, oh, well, 40% of that stuff went well, 60% didn't. What is that 60%? What are the skills, attitudes, habits I need to try to get that to 80%? And then what do I have to do next time to get it to 100%? So failure is part of learning and growing. And once people accept that nobody gets it right the first time, very rare, then you just jump in. Whenever you feel like you have enough skills to start, you should start.
Yeah.
And you can build the skills, connect with people that can help you with some of the things that, like, I don't do my own accounting. I'm not interested in that. Don't have any
True.
desire to do that. So I
Good
just hire
point.
someone to do that.
Good point.
So there's different things in your business you can hire people to do so that you can focus on the things you're good at.
Good deal. Now, because I think you brought up that, if we should be expecting to fail, and a lot of people see successful entrepreneurs and they think like they just did it on the first try and knocked it out the park. But I always like to, my thing is chocolate. I love chocolate. And Hershey, the guy, I think he failed like 7 times before he hit on Hershey's chocolate. So, don't beat yourself up so bad about failure, learn from it and improve. Now, for that person that has a concept, an idea, something that they want to do that's burning in their heart, what are some of the first steps that you suggest a person take if they want to pursue entrepreneurship?
So I really think that you start sharing what it is that you know about that and start to see who resonates with it. Okay. And you can share it very easily by starting to do some blogs. You can start posting some videos and just get feedback and see what it is that you know that can actually be monetized. Because then people are going to start asking you questions, and depending on what questions they ask you, those can turn into coaching. They can turn into a product or a service. So you have to test it out and start to explore what it is I know and how can I monetize that? Okay. How can I help and serve people?
Now that's a popular term in the business world: monetize. And I get conflicting advice from various people. Some people will say, in the beginning, just give away your stuff for free. And then on the other side, no, you got to charge, right from the get-go. You have value, So how do you feel about that?
I think you always give something for free, because when you go to Costco, they're always trying to give you something to try out. So you have to let people have a taste of what you can do, because they have to also understand whether or not you're the right fit for them, because you're not going to be the right fit for everybody. The way that you say it, the way that you see it is going to resonate with certain people, and it's not going to resonate with other people. So if you're trying to charge everybody for everything, you're going to find a lot of people are disappointed because they thought they were getting something else. But if you let them try it out, they start to feel some confidence in you. And I think if you don't have enough, you don't know enough that you can give some away, you need to learn more. You're not ready yet. You have to know enough that you can give some away, and you still got lots to provide in a monetized sense.
Okay. So that leads you to the impression that you have to be ready. If you have to know enough, you have, and have something to offer. That also leads into the fact that you have to be ready. And that's a iffy kind of thing. Like, when do we know we're ready?
So I wanted to speak on stage, and I couldn't just jump up on stage and start speaking. I didn't know enough about how I wanted to show up, what my style was, all that stuff. So I started practicing and learning and trying things out, taking some training. There's ways that you prepare. If it's something that you're passionate about and you already know a lot of things, then really what you're trying to do is figure out what do I know that's going to help people? And do I know enough that I can give some away and still create a course or some kind of product in that field? But where people, I think, go wrong is they have one little idea and they jump in full bore, and they have enough funding. Really, they think they have enough funding for a year, but they really only have enough funding for about 3 months. And a lot of times it takes about 6 months to really get your footing. So they run out of money way before they ever get to the point where they could make something of it. And so they didn't fail because they didn't have a good idea. They didn't fail because they weren't smart enough. They just failed because they were trying to go too fast and they didn't have enough funding to get them through that first initial launch struggle. Because it takes way longer to build up your business than anybody thinks or what it shows on the poster.
Yeah, I think that's another thing that people are missing, that, you know, it is a commitment, and you have to think long term. A lot of people want to see success and, you know, $1,000 a week in the bank, like after the month 2. And a lot of times it doesn't happen like that. And also a lot of times I see, and you kind of touched on this, you know, building the skill set. I'll have conversations with people, and let me see if I can substitute this so I'm not giving myself away here. Let's say they, you know, the Lana, you know, I'm going to open up this restaurant, you know, my macaroni and cheese is the best. I'm going to, you know, feature whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, like, your macaroni and cheese is terrible. So isn't it important to have people around you when you're starting to build up your business to actually give you some feedback and say, you know, maybe you should stick to pottery instead of macaroni and cheese?
You have to be able to take that criticism. That's what I find. So when I write books and I get reviews, I'm always looking for the constructive criticism in the review so that I can write a better book. Or sometimes I'll just take a book and I'll revamp it and then release it again. But if you can't take that criticism and you make everything emotional, you're not going to want to hear that your macaroni and cheese isn't really that good. Right? So you have to say, oh, okay, what is it that I need? Oh, you need a little more cheese, or you need a little more sauce. But if you're not willing to listen to that and you think, oh, mine is the best, then doesn't matter who tells you, you're never going to improve.
That's true. Yeah, it's a tricky dynamic to be in, because human nature, we want to protect ourselves and our ego, and like, no, you know, I'm good, I got this. And, you know, to actually be able to look at yourself and say, maybe it's really not the best. But, you know, if you're really trying to be in the business of business, you do have to get yourself in a mindset of taking criticism, because you're constantly tweaking, you're constantly making improvements, because the business that you start today and the model that you use today, hopefully in a year, 2 years, 3 years, you've adjusted stuff and it's not the same. And that requires criticism, input from other people, especially your customers.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're telling you how to make it better so that they're going to want to buy it again and again and again.
Okay. So we're almost done here. You know, these 30 minutes wrap up so fast, but I want to know, what is it that the kids are anxious to do once they get out of this quarantine stuff?
They're always talking about hanging out with their friends, going and seeing their friends. I think that social connection is, even though it's on video, it's not the same as just hanging out and laughing with your friends and watching movies and doing things.
Now, I find it so funny, because when I see young people today in clusters of groups, they have their phones and they're all together and they're still like this. So it's amazing to me that they want to get back together to still be disconnected.
Yeah.
I want to be right next to you, but I'm not going to pay attention to you.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy, right? But that's what they're missing.
It's like you're still doing the same thing. I mean, but I guess, you know, just to know that somebody is there, and we are, as human beings, we are creatures designed for connection and being together. So this is a struggle for a lot of people. You know, the mental process of it, you know, and I'm pretty sure, going back to business owners, I mean, the way, I mean, I've just read and seen so many stories of, you know, people having to close their businesses. They don't know when, they're going to be able to recover. I mean, a lot of stuff is just going to be gone after this. That's not going to survive.
It is. Yeah. Anybody that was already on shaky ground, they're probably not going to open that business up again. They're either going to find some other way, some other thing that they're going to do that's maybe related, or they're going to get a job and then rebuild and maybe eventually go back into entrepreneur.
Yeah. I mean, and even that finding a job is going to be difficult because they say there's not going to be that many jobs available. And a lot of people don't realize that business owners and entrepreneurs, they have maybe a cash reserve of maybe a month or two, but it's taken them 2 or 3 years to build that reserve. So it's not going to be just, oh, we're open again and I'll be able to build that back up. It's a whole entire process for that.
Yeah. And the other problem is that because there's going to be so many people not working, there's going to be less people buying.
Yeah. Well, once again, in Canada, you guys have money that's given to you. So you guys will be able to buy. They're only giving United States, $1,200. And so I don't know.
Really? Wow.
So you guys will recover much quicker. We'll be over here just rocking back and forth like, I don't know. Well, W.T., we're gonna do the random question, and then I'm gonna give you an opportunity for people to give your information so people can connect with you and buy your books and stuff like that. So let's see what we got here. What long shot have you taken that has paid off?
What long shot? So really, the one chapter books I think is a long shot, just because it's really like nobody's really done that before.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were thinking it's a crazy idea. They thought it was cool, but they were really thinking it's crazy.
Yeah.
And so it's something that I didn't know if I was going to be able to pull off. And I had to put a lot of time and passion into it. But it's really been rewarding with just the way it's been received and how I've connected with people with it.
Awesome. Yeah, because when I was reading, I was like, that's a kind of unique little twist there, the one chapter book. But it seems to all work out. I really like that concept because we just want the meat and potatoes. I don't need all the fluff. Just give it to me so I can get going. And that seems where you found your niche. And you had mentioned that earlier. It's all about finding where you fit, so you can garner success. So that's cool. I really like that. Okay. So what are they telling you guys in Canada? So you guys will be locked down for how long?
So they said 14 days, but I don't know if there's still 24 hours in a day or if they've changed it to 168 hours in a day. Because
I'm waking up every day.
It's gonna be 14 weeks.
Yeah, I'm waking up every day. Like, is it Tuesday? What day is it? I'm like, just in this little. And they just told us, not to try not to go grocery shopping for the next 2 weeks. So,
Wow.
It's just, yeah. So
I think we're looking at end of May before we're really able to start doing things again normally.
Yeah.
So that's a lot more than 14 days.
Yes, indeed. We'll be like, oh, that's what people look like. Oh, all right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I feel
I'm lucky because I'm bald, so I shaved my head, but a lot of people
I know,
starting
right?
to grow out and
I have a few good friends that are barbers and they're just walking back and forth, just like, I don't know what to do, and that's another thing we had discussed earlier, like these little small mom and pop businesses that are a barber that their income is shot. Like, they're used to that daily, weekly monetary income. And for them to sit down for 2 months, that's debilitating.
Yeah.
So hopefully we all get up and running and get some semblance of it. Will never be normal again, but something, we'll see how this goes. But yeah, so give us the ways we can connect with you, how we can buy the books. You do speaking, you mentioned, and all of that stuff. So tell us how we connect with you.
Yeah, so I do a lot of stuff on Instagram, and it's just W.T.Hamilton on Instagram. The website is wherethewindblows.ca.
Where the Wind Blows. Okay.
And then have if you search up The Harsh Truths, that's the latest book, you can get the link to my my Amazon page through that.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Well, I have enjoyed talking to you. Like I said, I'm going to say it one more time. I'm a little envious. I always tease. We always tease here in America when stuff is going wrong. We're all just going to run to Canada. We're all going to run to Canada. I'm pretty sure you guys are tired of hearing us say that. But this is one of the times where we wish we were in Canada. I will tell you that.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you for taking time to be with me again on the show. I wish you much success. I hope you and the wife and the kids get through this all in one piece and with all the brain cells, and wish you much success helping business owners find their mojo.
And I want to thank you for having me on this show, Lana, and hopefully you're staying safe. And I really appreciate what you're doing, because it makes a big difference when people are stuck at home and they can watch a podcast and get uplifted and get great information. So you're doing a huge service for your whole community, for all the listeners.
Thank you. Thank you. Just doing what women do, being nosy, asking questions, and running my mouth. It's just naturally something that we do. So, hey, just that. So thank you again, and much success to you. And that is the end of another episode of The Male Perspective. I'm your host, Lana Reid, and I'll see everybody next time.